Hi there everybody, I'm Mr. Vosters, and in this video I will be showing you how to use the hole tool in OnShape. We'll be using it to recreate this block right here. So it's got 4 different holes in it, and you can see the hole notes up here. So I'll walk you through the process of creating this block and then adding all the holes to it. I'll even finish the video by showing you how to add hole notes in a multi-view drawing so that it can look pretty much exactly like this. So let's go over to OnShape. And in OnShape, I'm just going to go into my IED folder. Just remember, you want to try to stay as organized as possible. So we're going to go into 1.3, and then I'll name this one 1.3.2, and then making holes in OnShape. And we'll create it. So we'll start by adding a sketch to our front plane. I'm just going to draw this little rectangle so that we have our block. And we'll go to our front plane. Let's hide some of these other ones. And let's just look at our dimensions real quick. Looks like it's 3 inches tall. Let's make it 5 inches wide. It doesn't give us a width dimension. Let's make it 5. And then it's going to be 2 inches deep. So we'll make a 3 by 5 rectangle here. So let's dimension that. 3, and then here we'll do 5. Finish that sketch and extrude it. So I'm kind of cruising through this. In past videos, I've shown you guys how to extrude and do sketches like this. So we have a block that's 3 by 5 by 2. And before we go any further and start actually making these holes, first we're going to add some points in all the locations where we want the holes to go. So I'm actually going to create a new sketch on this top of our block. So you can see the sketch plane is up here. Let's go to the top view so we can kind of look at it from a straight on angle. And then we're going to use the point tool up here. So you can either hit Shift S or click this. And I want it to be in line with the middle. So if you go over to the side, either side, the left or the right, you can find the midpoint. And let's just create a few that are lined up with the midpoint. And let's make them all kind of in a line here. And we want 4 dots. It looks like I accidentally created one there, which I do not want. I just want these 4. Let's dimension them so that they're all kind of in the location that we want. So we're just going to space them out 1 inch from each other. Okay. This will take a sec. There we go. And then let's make sure they're all 1 inch from the bottom and the top. Looks like they are. So we should be good to go there. I don't know why it keeps... Oh, I think it's because I used that midpoint and just created that point there. So we'll just leave that for now. We're not going to use it to create any holes, so I'm not too worried about it. I know that these are fully constrained because they all turned a black color. If I tried to dimension these, I'll get an error. Like if I try to type in 1 right here, it's going to give me an error because you cannot dimension something that's already fully constrained. I'll talk about constraints in a future video. But what you need to know for now is as long as you follow all the steps that I did, these should all have turned black. If any of them are blue in your design, you'll want to dimension them to make sure they're 1 inch from the top or the bottom. All right, I'm going to click the green check and we've got our points. If I hit Shift 7, remember that takes you to your isometric view. You can see all our points up on the top here. That's perfect. Now we can actually add the holes to those locations. So if I go to the hole tool, now we can click on the point that we want. Now your menu may look a little different. I've been messing around with it a little bit. So let's go back to our little drawing here. Our first hole is just going to be a 1/2 inch diameter and it's going to be a through hole. So right away we want a simple hole. That's going to get rid of some of our options here. And let's just do a through hole. So that's going to be the option that says through all. And then the width or the diameter is going to be, I believe it was 0.5. So if I do 0.5 inches, hit enter, that should pop up there for me. Click the green check once your menu here matches mine, and that hole will show up now. It's going to be hard for you to see that these holes are kind of being designed as you want them necessarily. So I'll show you a little trick that we can use to monitor how we're doing. So we'll set up a section view. So if you go under here, under our cube on the right side, you can click down at the bottom. It's going to be called a section view. From here, we can click the front plane, or at least the front of our whole box here, or whole cube, whatever you want to call it, whole block, sorry. And if you click that, now we're allowed to actually kind of cut through. We can section it. So we want it to be right through the middle, so we'll do -1. And now, as we add our holes, we should be able to kind of monitor our progress. So we'll go back and make our second hole now. And notice all my dots went away. We're going to want to bring those back by making sketch 2 visible. Now for the hole, the second one, we can click on that second point. And now I need to bring this up so I can see what I'm doing. So let's get this a little bit out of the way. So the second hole is going to be 0.375 in diameter with a 2-inch depth. So we're not going to go through all on this one. We're going to go blind. And we're going to do, I think I said it was 2 inches, and the diameter will be 0.375. So 0.375, and this one will be 2. But then we had this other little symbol here. This is a counter bore symbol. And notice how this one kind of has this little step. That's the counter bore. So this symbol means the counter bore is going to have a 0.75 diameter, and it's going to have a 0.5 inch depth. So instead of having a simple hole, we're going to switch it to a counter bore. And now it gives us some new options here. So you can see if you look closely, it kind of talks about these different options, or it gives you a little graphic that shows what it's talking about. So here we have a counter bore set up at 0.5. We need to switch it to 0.75. And then we said our counter bore depth was 0.5. This little arrow going down with a line on top, that means depth of 0.5. So the depth of our counter bore, that's this one, needs to be 0.5. When we update that, it should reflect on our actual part here. Click the green check, and you should see that this pretty much matches our drawing, and it does. Next one is going to be what's called a countersink, and it's a lot like a counter bore, where the hole starts out a lot larger and then it gets more narrow. But this one, instead of going straight up and down at like a 90-degree angle, this one's angling kind of at a gradual slope towards the hole. So this one is going to be our countersink note, and it's going to have a diameter of 0.5, a depth of 2.25, and then it's going to have a countersink diameter of 1 inch at an 82-degree angle. So let's go ahead and try that one. We'll go back to our hole tool, click on our third little dot here. And instead of counter bore, we'll select countersink. And let's see if I can pull that up. So we need diameter of 0.25, depth of 2.25. So 0.25, and then our depth for the overall hole is 2.25. We're getting there. Our counter sink was 1 inch diameter with an 82-degree angle. So 1 inch here. Notice how that opened up quite a bit. And it was already set to 82 for me, thankfully. So this 118, we're just going to leave that at the default 118 degrees. Click the green check, and it should finalize. And I think we're doing pretty good so far. The spacing on these is obviously a little bit different, but I want you to try to recreate it exactly as I did, because they didn't even give us spacing here. So our last one here is going to be another counter bore. This one's going to have a little bit different dimensions compared to our second hole. Here we're going to have a 0.5 diameter through hole with a counter bore of 0.75 with a depth of 0.625. Let's go back to our isometric. Click the hole tool. Click on your last dot over here. We want to switch this to counterbore. Right away, we can switch it to through all. This one has a diameter of, like we said, 0.5. So let's update that. Our counterbore is 0.75 with a depth of 0.625. So our depth is 0.625, and I believe I said our diameter of the counterbore is 0.75, which it already is. So we can click the green check because we are done, and that's that. So that's your first one. We'll go through a little bit more complicated hole block in the next video that will introduce the idea of threaded or tapped holes. Sorry, I said we were going to make a multi-view drawing. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. If you go to create drawing of part 1, let's just make a 4-view drawing. Here, we've got all 4 of our holes showing. Let's show the hidden lines so that we can actually see our holes. Let's show them over here too. And then here, let's make this one a shaded view. All right, real quick to make hole callouts, pretty easy. You can use this hole thread callout tool, and if you just click on any edge of the hole, it'll pop up right away. So real easy to do. And these are going to pretty much match our drawing exactly. Let's just pull up and compare. So 0.5 through, 0.5 through. Here, this one matches all of our other dimensions here exactly. This one, 0.25, depth of 2.25, 1 inch diameter, 82 degrees. Here, these two match as well. So that's it for this one. Why don't you export this PDF, and that's what you will submit for this assignment. All right. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.